From Red Zone Weather in Brewton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Megginson. Live hurricane coverage starts right now.
Hurricane Ida intensifying in the Gulf of Mexico on this Saturday evening. Ida continues to move to the northwest at about 15 miles per hour, setting it up for a landfall in Louisiana by the time we get to tomorrow evening. A hurricane warning continues for much of the northern Gulf Coast, including much of Louisiana and metropolitan New Orleans, with a tropical storm warning in effect for part of our local area. Good Saturday evening to you. I'm meteorologist Spinks Megginson. Ida has strengthened today, and that's evident here on the infrared satellite shot. You can see that this is now a large hurricane that continues to become more organized this evening. Rapid intensification is likely in the overnight hours, extending into the morning and really into the afternoon as well, before the center of Ida likely comes on shore somewhere down here in the southeastern part of Louisiana. Please keep in mind that impacts will extend well away from that singular landfall point. Most likely the landfall point is going to end up being somewhere here near Grand Isle, Louisiana. But you can see the size of this system. Tropical storm force winds extend outward over 100 miles. And so that's the latest on Ida in terms of the satellite view. There are several questions that have come up over the last 24 hours, and I want to address 4 of those this evening. The number one question that I've had over the last 24 hours is, could there be a big shift to the east in the projected path of Hurricane Ida? We're going to address that this evening. In addition, what impact specifically are we looking at from this hurricane? When and where in our local area? How strong is Ida right now? And last but not least, are any big changes in the forecast expected with this hurricane? So let's take them one by one and first address that big question. Could there be a significant shift in the forecast cone of uncertainty back to the east for Hurricane Ida? To answer that question, we're going to have to take a look into the specifics of the atmosphere, kind of some nerd talk this evening. And what we're looking at, this is called the 500 millibar height. And I want you to notice there's sort of a circular pattern going on in through here. Let me back this up a bit. I want you to watch as I roll this forward. Here's Ida down here in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see the large counterclockwise circulation associated with the big area of low atmospheric pressure that is Hurricane Ida down here in the Gulf. But this, you kind of see some circles in through here. These lines, those green lines, are called isobars. In other words, equal lines of pressure in the atmosphere. And this is at about 20,000 feet, so well up in the atmosphere. And what you're going to notice is that Ida is moving around this area of high pressure somewhat like a clock. And for those of you under the age of 15 that are watching this evening, you may not be familiar with one of these. This is actually called an analog clock. It's the clock with the hands. It looks just like that. And I'm showing you this because air around an area of high pressure moves in a clockwise fashion. So that's what's driving Hurricane Ida this evening. Let's put the map in motion, and you'll see that Ida, if you think about this like a clock, is sort of at the 7 or 8 o'clock position. Again, if that's the center of your clock, this would be 7, 8, and 9 o'clock here. So that's what's driving Ida. It's going to move to the northwest towards the Louisiana coast, and that area of high pressure currently situated over the Carolinas is going to continue to drive the storm, and it's going to prevent a big shift to the east. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. There could be some wobbles. There's actually a fancy word called trochodial motion that describes these big hurricanes when they come on shore, and really before that, when they're strengthening out over water, they actually do wobble around left and right around the overall flow. And so you could get a westward shift or an eastward shift in through there, but it's not going to be a significant shift. That's what we would be looking for. Ida is going to continue to move to the northwest, likely making landfall somewhere here along the eastern coast of Louisiana. Can't completely rule out a landfall point, maybe in the southeastern part of Mississippi, say west of Biloxi, but even the odds of that at this point are fairly low. And by the way, You'll see in a minute when we look on the satellite view where Ida is right now. It's actually basically due south of our local area. So again, that big area of high pressure is going to keep driving Ida to the northwest with a very likely near certain landfall in the state of Louisiana. Again, due to that high pressure that's well off to our northeast over the Carolinas. So let's look at Ida on the satellite view. And again, the center of the storm is already directly to the south of our local area. This is not going to make landfall in Florida. There's simply no chance of that happening at this point. And you can see here's the center of the storm. There's an eye-like feature that's been evident in the satellite presentation all day long and through here. And what we're going to be watching for over the next several hours is these deeper areas of convection. In other words, the taller thunderstorms develop around that eye. There already is that eye wall-like feature, but it's likely to become more organized in the hours ahead. Let's pull out the probe tool and measure here. If you measure from where Ida is centered right now back up to the city of Mobile, Alabama, it's about 260 miles to the south. Destin, right here, 248 miles to the southwest. And so the center of Ida has already passed Destin, and it's really already past Milton, Pensacola, and areas near Perdido Key. It's to the southwest at this point, basically due south of Gulf Shores, Alabama this evening. Also 235 miles to the south-southeast of Dauphin Island, and landfall expected right in through here along this part of the Louisiana coast. The center of Hurricane Ida is about 220 miles to the southeast of there right now, and that thing is going to be moving just like that, very near the line that you just saw. Unfortunately, it looks like we could have extensive, potentially even catastrophic impacts in areas like New Orleans and points south down to Houma, Louisiana, and Venice down in through here. This part of Louisiana is going to take an unfortunate beating from this hurricane. And by the way, the word catastrophic, that's not my word. That's being used by the National Weather Service over in New Orleans to describe this hurricane. Again, a potentially catastrophic impact for parts of eastern Louisiana near and perhaps just to the south of New Orleans. There's the entire cone of uncertainty this evening. No big changes to talk about. Again, Ida going to continue to move to the northwest. After making landfall, it's likely going to turn to the north, again, around that area of high pressure, and then ultimately turn off to the northeast. And that's why our local area is going to have a potential for an extended round of local impacts that could potentially begin in the overnight hours. We do have a low-end tornado risk tonight near the Alabama and Northwest Florida beaches. We're going to talk about that more in just a minute. Let's look at the wind fields on this thing because Ida has become larger today as well. Hurricane force winds now extend outward about 40 miles. Let's bring out the tool. Again, center of Ida right in through here. Tropical storm force winds extend outward from the center about 130 miles to the northeast side. So if you double that, you get in the neighborhood of a diameter of 260 miles. That's a big swath of tropical storm force winds with those hurricane force winds extending outward. That would be the radius of about 36 miles. So if you double that, you get about 72 miles wide, the diameter of the hurricane force winds. And that's basically what this thing is going to be at landfall. Again, a big time, large hurricane moving into eastern Louisiana in the hours ahead. And so I think we've answered the question at this point. Could there be a big shift east in the projected path of Hurricane Ida? The answer is conclusively no. Again, maybe some smaller shifts, but a big shift is very unlikely. So that's a good thing for our local area. Now, let's talk about specific local impacts. Earlier today, we premiered this graphic, and this remains on target. The highest chance of impacts in our local area in South Alabama and Northwest Florida will happen in Washington, Mobile, Baldwin counties in Southwest Alabama, and also Escambia County in Northwest Florida. The impacts locally going to be confined to gusty winds near the bays and also near the Alabama and Northwest Florida beaches in terms of the higher wind impacts. You could have wind gusts up to around 50 miles an hour down in through here along Mobile Bay and near the Alabama and Northwest Florida beaches. Tornadoes, however, will be possible region-wide. It does not matter what specific color zone you are in this evening. If you are on this map, you have a tornado risk really starting on Sunday in the evening hours and extending into Monday. Again, a low-end tornado risk has developed near the coast in the overnight hours, and we'll address that in just a moment. First, let's look at watches and warnings. You do have a tropical storm warning that continues for Mobile and Baldwin counties, all parts of those counties involved in a tropical storm warning, with a tropical storm warning also in effect for nearly all of southeast Mississippi, basically from the Pearl River and Poplarville back over to the Alabama state line. Also, Washington County should be shaded here. Washington County is involved in a tropical storm warning. So again, tropical storm warning there. A hurricane warning is in effect for parts of Louisiana. Here's a better view of that. And again, New Orleans, areas near Houma, Louisiana, Baton Rouge. You've also got Slidell involved in a hurricane warning. This is the zone where we're expecting the greatest wind impacts from Hurricane Ida, and that's depicted here. This is the probability of your location experiencing tropical storm force winds in excess of 39 miles per hour. And you can see that if you're in New Orleans, a near certain chance that you're going to have tropical storm force winds down in through here in southeast Louisiana. Across our area, it's a little bit of a different story because we do have the core of this storm passing to our west. And so it looks like the chances of any given area across southwest Alabama and northwest Florida having these tropical storm force winds going to be very low, especially here farther inland across, say, the northeastern side of our local area. The city of Mobile only has a 29% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. And again, those chances get even lower the farther to the east that you go. So again, maybe tropical storm force winds down here near the bay, Mobile Bay, near Escambia Bay, Pensacola Bay as well, East Bay. You've also got areas near the Alabama beaches, and I think that Dauphin Island and areas near Bayou La Batterie has the greatest probability in our local area of seeing those tropical storm force winds. In addition to the wind hazards, we're also very concerned about storm surge, particularly to our west, but also in our local area. Mobile and Baldwin counties involved in a storm surge warning, and even tonight we're already seeing gusty winds near the Alabama beaches where double red flags are flying. This photo was sent in moments ago by Donna Mansell. We thank her for that photo. And again, already seeing rip currents and other coastal hazards, including high waves, happening near the Alabama and northwest Florida beaches. Can't be stressed enough, please stay out of the water. Look at these values in terms of the wave heights already. These are valid right now, basically. We're talking in excess of 30-foot waves down here near the center of Hurricane Ida. And so that's what you're seeing already down in the Gulf. And what we're concerned about is that big bowling ball of higher waves moving on shore. All of this has got to go somewhere, and it's going to funnel in just like that. And so the wave action in through here is just going to be tremendous. And obviously that becomes storm surge when it reaches the shore. And so Mississippi and Louisiana, this part of the coastline, has the greatest risk of seeing storm surge in excess of 10 feet. That's a big storm surge. So please keep in mind, if you know someone that has stayed behind and did not evacuate in an area that is not protected by a levee system, please tell them to get out tonight. Impacts are going to begin in this area, this part of southeast Louisiana, in the morning. So they've got to get out now. It's a vital, urgent situation in terms of this storm surge that could be moving into that area. For our area, we're talking 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, so not nearly as bad, most likely, as what's going to transpire just to our southwest. Flash flooding also going to be a concern with this hurricane. Again, Washington, Mobile, Baldwin, Escambia, Florida, that's the zone that has the greatest probability of seeing flash flooding with this event with Hurricane Ida because of this. Rain amounts likely to be in excess of 7 inches in total down here in southern Mobile County. 6 inches of rain likely for Daphne, Fairhope, areas near Gulf Shores, Orange Beach. And as you go farther to the east, those rain amounts go down. And so what that means is if you're in Andalusia, Opp, Florala, less than 3 inches of rain in total expected with this event, with lesser amounts, of course, over in southeast Alabama. However, southeast Louisiana, check this out, 15 to 16 inches of rain. This is not only going to be an issue with storm surge, high winds, but also these folks are going to have to deal with very high rain amounts that could lead to flash flooding. And that's why a flash flood watch is in effect for several local counties and all points back here in southern Mississippi and eastern Louisiana, Washington, Clark, Mobile, Baldwin, Escambia in Alabama, and Escambia and Santa Rosa in northwest Florida involved in a flash flood watch valid until Tuesday. So flash flooding will certainly be a concern. And last but not least, tornadoes across the region. Does not matter where you are, you have a tornado risk. And even in the overnight hours, yes indeed, could have a tornado or two down here near the coast. If you're in this darker shade of green, you have a non-zero tornado risk, meaning it's a low-end risk, probably won't have issues in the overnight hours, but I can't completely rule out a few tornadoes down here, basically in areas of the southern parts of Mobile and Baldwin counties, Escambia, and also part of Santa Rosa there in Florida. And let's actually flip over, if we can, to the radar, and I'll show you why the Storm Prediction Center has chosen to do this. We've got a band of showers and storms. This is live radar, by the way. These storms are going to continue to move in just like that. This is the first outer rain band associated with Hurricane Ida, ultimately going to come on shore here just like that. And so could have a few tornadoes, not only with this first band, but also with the bands to come down here closer to the center of Ida. Again, the thing is moving just like that. And so we're going to have band after band of rain as we get into your Sunday. Speaking of Sunday, there's the convective outlook for Sunday. A level 2 tornado risk has been introduced for eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and also even the far southwestern part of Mobile County there, or here I should say, in Alabama. And on Monday, so again, there's Sunday, here's Monday, a level 1 tornado risk for much of West Alabama, all of our local area, by the way, northwest Florida, extending over to Andalusia and Greenville. Much of Mississippi and eastern Louisiana still could have a few tornadoes into your Monday. So again, that's why we all have a tornado risk. Have a way to get those warnings before you go to sleep tonight if you're down here in areas south of I-10 particularly. But really over the next few days, we all need something that will wake us up if we happen to go under a tornado warning. So we've looked at the questions. How strong is Ida now? That's the next question. And here's the answer. Right now, maximum sustained winds at about 103, 105 miles per hour. That makes Ida a Category 2 hurricane. And it's easy to see why. Big structural changes over the last 24 hours. This thing is much stronger than it was and likely to get even stronger. I'm expecting Ida to become a major hurricane in the hours ahead. So that's how strong Ida is now. And we'll keep this one simple. Any big changes in the forecast? Are we expecting anything that could go wrong, that could alter the forecast in a significant way? Again, keeping it easy, the answer is no. There is very high confidence that the center of Ida will make landfall, most likely in southeastern Louisiana, as a powerful major hurricane with impacts likely across our region in the days ahead. Now, in addition to Ida, we're also watching a new tropical depression. This is Tropical Depression 10, going to remain well away from land, even away from Bermuda and the Lesser Antilles. Also tracking another system that may become a tropical storm in the North Atlantic. No concern there. And yes, indeed, another tropical wave. We'll have to watch that one as it moves across the Atlantic. It's well away from America, but it's something to be aware of in the days ahead. High rain chances over the next few days associated with Hurricane Ida, and then rain chances remain elevated into the middle part of next week, even after Ida departs to the north and northeast. These will be the pop-up showers and thunderstorms, but again, high rain chances over the next few days associated with this landfalling hurricane. So that's your evening update on Hurricane Ida. My next video will be posted tomorrow, most likely by noon. Probably what we'll do in the morning is have a graphic up with the latest information on Ida, and then around lunchtime we'll produce our next video. I wouldn't be surprised if we needed some tornado warning coverage tomorrow evening for our local area. So if we have tornado warnings, be sure to join me in the Red Zone Weather app and of course on Facebook Live as we bring you the very latest. Until then, plenty more updates coming in that Red Zone Weather app. Have a good Saturday evening. Stay safe.
Be sure to find us across social media, and don't forget to download the free Red Zone Weather app and set up your customized alerts. Please support our Red Zone weather sponsors who make our coverage possible every single day.